Well, hello there. I'm Mama Jane's husband, and this is
Mama Jane.
And we are currently cruising off the coast of South Africa on Norwegian Dawn, heading to Namibia. And we have had a good cruise here, visiting various places. And before we got on the ship, we had a few days in Cape Town. And one of the gems of Cape Town is the V&A Waterfront. And we're going to do a little video about that now. So if that interests you, watch on. Now, apparently, Victoria and Alfred visited South Africa to open the waterfront back in the day, back in Victoria's day. And the dock system in Cape Town started after Lloyd's of London insisted that there was a port created on the Cape for safe harbour for ships after they had a disastrous insurance loss or one night when loads and loads of ships that they were liable for were lost. So they refused to insure any more ships going around the Cape until there was a safe harbour made. And they named it after Victoria and Alfred, one of her sons. Is that correct?
That would appear to be correct.
That would be correct. And these days, South Africa have turned it into a wonderful sort of shopping, eating, drinking, museum experience.
It's lovely.
It is. And it's also where you get your cruise ship.
Yeah.
So it's not bad at all.
No.
And we had many an hour there, didn't we?
We did. It's an amazing place, really. It's not just a shopping centre. It's got sculptures.
All sorts of different sculptures. There's this row of rhinos, and which are multicoloured, a bit like we started seeing in the UK, to do with charity raising monies. For instance, in London, you can see gorillas around London. In Sheffield, we've had elephants. Is that right? And in Doncaster, there's the odd dolphin scattered around the place. So it's a similar
I think it's a penguin in Doncaster.
Is it a penguin in Doncaster? Yeah, it is. You're right. It is a penguin in Doncaster. I love dolphins. It's got dolphins on my brain. Mind you, I love penguins as well. Enormous shopping mall. That is like, if you know Meadowhall in Sheffield, it's massive shopping centre. And there's also then smaller sort of shopping centres around the place. It's called the Watershed. Now, I don't know why it's called the Watershed, but inside there's lots of independent crafts, people selling the things they've made. Yeah. And it's a beautiful experience just walking around, isn't it?
And it's quite high-end stuff that they sell. You know, it's lovely. I bought a beautiful mohair, very fine knitted shawl, and it was not expensive. It's mohair and wool, and it's just lovely. And it's not like going in what can I think? You know, these souks in various other countries where they're all over you shouting, trying to sell you things. And it's not like that at all. It's just very calm, very pleasant, and well worth a visit. Beautiful linen clothing. They're very much into linen, it would appear.
In South Africa.
I suppose because of the temperature. It's it's just a very lovely place. Excuse me,
if we hadn't had to get it home, we'd have bought quite a lot of stuff.
We would. We would have, because it was the clothing.
Good value.
Yeah.
If we ever come to South Africa again, we'll pack less so we can take more with us, I think.
Yeah.
So that was a real treat. There's quite a few like food hall, street food that's been put inside. and most, so Maker's Landing, not Maker's Landing, Watershed did have some places to eat as well, in there. And then there's this Time Out, obviously sponsor one of the food halls, and that looked a right lively place. It were banging, is an expression we've got. It was very lively and lots of people eating in there. But we didn't have any room in our stomachs, did we?
No.
So we didn't eat. But that looked a banging place. And then we also went and we did have a meal at one of the restaurants by the water called Q4. And we had a great meal, didn't we?
We did, yes.
Right by the water side. But there was these pesky penguins, I hope not. Pesky pigeon type creatures, seagulls, were they? Oh yeah, seagulls, that's the word I was looking for. Yeah, gosh, they were
scary.
They were scary.
If you've ever been to St Ives in Cornwall, think St Ives in Cornwall.
They were beasts. I put a photo in. They're beasts, I'm telling you. And with a lovely fish meal. I discovered a new fish. I think it was skips.
I don't know.
You had yellowtail.
Yeah.
And that were gorgeous, weren't
you?
Yes. We had a couple of my brother and me had a couple of South African brews, which were very nice. And in fact, all the beers we've had in South Africa have been fabroony. All the wine we've had in South Africa has been fabroony. All the food we've had
cheap.
I
keep saying it.
Very
keep saying it, but
good value.
You know, it really is a place to come if you want. I say cheap, very inexpensive here. So as I say, you can soon recoup your cost of a flight here or cruise by what you save. You know, it evens it out a bit, doesn't it?
It does. It's in the historic sort of dock area, so there's lots of little waterways, and there is a bridge that you have to cross. There's two swing bridges, one fairly modern and right at the heart of the waterfront, and it's quite interesting watching it open and things coming through, and then there's another older swing bridge more further inland, and that's a different bridge. In it separates in the middle. The other one is a complete swing bridge.
It really swings round.
It swings completely from one end, and you can see the boats go through, and it is quite good. There's an African shop there that sells a lot of African art, and there's some huge pieces, aren't there? And they're absolutely amazing, the art, but we just couldn't get the stuff home.
Oh no, it's massive. You'd have
massive
to have it.
Stuff. Lots of little stuff inside. And very nice, you know, very nice stuff. And they supposedly got a museum on the top floor. I'm not sure how you'd class it as a museum, because there's no narrative. There's nothing. There's no words explaining what any of the piece. There's just a lot of stuff. It's like going into somebody's attic, only they've got everything displayed in cases, but there's no narrative to it. So you have no understanding of what anything is there. It's all very interesting. It's an interesting place to walk through, and the shop is really interesting because they've got astonishing pieces to sell and everything. So it's worth going in, but we couldn't really buy anything. And that's next to the swing bridge. Across the other side of the swing bridge is the famous V&A clock tower, apparently. Don't know why it's famous, but it is famous. And next to that is where you can get on the ferry to go across to Robins Island, and that's the Nelson Mandela Gateway building. That's got a great exhibition in about the history of South Africa and apartheid. All very cunning, really. There's also a diamond museum. Now, I'm not so sure about this diamond museum. museum, because on the internet it says it's free, and it isn't. It's 200 rand, not a lot of money, about nine and a bit pounds.
Oh, it's quite a lot of money to go to a museum.
Yeah, and you have to book. You just can't wander in. You have to book. It was part of one of the diamond shops, and I suspect it might be a bit of a hard sell when you get in. So I'm unconvinced about that. Perhaps reviews. I haven't read any of the reviews, but it might be worth doing so before you visit the Diamond Museum. So there is lots to see on the waterfront, and there's also a real museum which I really rate, and they used to have a grain silo from when it was a big port, where they used to import the grain, when they used to store the grain before it was exported. And they've turned this old silo building into a hotel and a museum. And absolutely fantastic job they've done. The inside is like cathedral-esque, and it's the building itself is a work of art. It's really, really, really stunning, and there is a lot of African art inside, all modern, and there's a lot of using film and photography, and it's all very well done. There is a strong political message that's attached to a lot of it. Just need to say that, and a strong political message about women as well. So just you've got to remember where South Africa is at the moment and the lens with which the art is being done. So well worth a visit in my view. Fantastic coffee on the coffee shop on the 6th floor with some pretty good views, and well worth
And I
the
think,
time.
is there not a hotel?
Then the hotel on top is shall we say a 5-star hotel with 5-star prices. This is something we came across that was not cheap in South Africa. It's quite a lot of money to stay at it. But on the top floor they have a bar, and as a non-resident you can go in, and you can also eat there. Now the thing is, if you're a non-resident, it's booked up quite a lot in the evening, so it's hard to get in for reservation in the evening. But in the afternoon they take walk-ins. If there's tables available, they take walk-ins. So I went. Mama Jane at the time was having a rest, weren't you? Yes. You were having a bit of a rest. And I went up and had a great drink up there. Again, another different beer. Great views of V&A Waterfront. Absolutely Faberuni views of the waterfront. So it's well worth going up. There's even an infinity pool up there.
That's for the hotel though?
It is. Unfortunately, you have to be a resident to swim in it. It's almost worth staying a night just to get in the infinity pool and take the selfie of yourself with the Table Mountain behind you. It's got to be one of the selfies, hasn't it? In an infinity pool with Table Mountain behind you.
Yeah.
Got to be one of the selfie moments.
But we didn't.
do that. So that was a fairly Faberuni experience. There are some other art galleries dotted around, and some of the stuff in them was really, really good as well. And there's plenty of bars. I went in one called Cause and Effect, which is a cocktail bar mainly, but again, I had a beer in there. Another different brand, fantastic. So it's a lively, great experience at night, is what I would say. Now, the other thing that they've got at the V&A Waterfront is a wheel, haven't they? A big wheel.
They certainly have. Now, if you've been to London and you've been on the London Eye, you're going to be disappointed. Trust me. If you're used to a normal, excuse me, fairground wheel, you're going to be impressed.
Yeah.
Because it's like a normal fairground big wheel, except you are closed in, and there's seats at either side. But it's just as opposed to the London Eye, where it's a huge, what would you call it? Container.
Yeah, more like
people.
a container. Yeah.
These just seat, I would say 6 maximum. It goes round 3 times.
Yeah.
But we got an extra time.
We got 4,
didn't we? We got 4.
We were the only ones on.
Yeah. Yeah.
We timed it well. There can be queues at certain times.
Can be, yeah, they can be. I can't remember how much that cost. Can you remember?
It were about £15 in total. So
Yeah.
both were under a tenner.
And we were told it's between 10 and 12 minutes, the actual trip, whatever. So as I say, it is what it is, and it does give you good views. It certainly does. But please, if you're thinking it's like the London Eye,
It's not.
or indeed any other of these enormous wheels, it's not. But it's still worth going. It's lovely.
It did give us some great views of the stadium,
Coast and the coast and the stadium. Yeah.
And the waterfront as well.
Yeah.
So all in all, worth doing in my
Oh
view.
yeah, very
Well worth
yeah,
doing.
very well.
And then as it was getting to night time, we were aware that there was what was described as a market, and we thought this was right in the middle of the V&A Waterfront, and we couldn't find it. We took a bit of finding, didn't it,
And nobody seemed to know what we were talking about. That was the silly thing.
Yeah.
In fact, one of the reasons for going on the wheel was to see if we could see it.
Yeah.
And but we eventually found it, and indeed what it is, it's a crazy place. It just opens on a Wednesday evening.
Yeah.
5 o'clock it opens, and we were there about what time?
We got there about
7.
Yeah.
Now, what I would say is you need to be there at 5 if you want
a seat.
If you want a seat, because it is absolutely heaving,
Banging
with it just sells stuff for you to take away, food. It's, you can buy bread and stuff like that, homemade stuff, locally made stuff. But you can also buy it to eat there. Anything you can imagine, you can buy there, and the drinks. And there's so many stalls, and the whole place was rammed. And it's like long trestle tables with benches. And as I say, it was 7 o'clock, and we managed to find a seat, didn't we?
We did.
But it was just an amazing place. It really is worth a visit, because the atmosphere is just fabulous, and there's every nationality there, as well as the locals. It really is a lovely place, isn't it? And it's covered in I don't know what you call it, like tarpaulin. Huge tent-like structures cover the whole thing. It's one big thing. It really is amazing.
Like there's huge queues at some of the stalls.
Yeah.
But actually they've got queue managers.
Yeah.
Which is a really good idea, so that wherever queue you're in, you'll get served, and it's done very, very quickly.
Yes.
So they shuffle people back and forth between the queues.
Yeah.
And these guys know exactly what they're doing. Very well organised. Something we could learn actually in the UK, having queue managers. Queue goes down much quicker, more equity, no argy-bargies in these big queues, because you can get that, can't you? And it turned out it was a fabulous visit. The only problem is that when we tried to get away from it, we thought we'll get a taxi.
Yeah, because you do not wander around.
You don't want to wander around
on your own in the dark. No.
But the Uber app wouldn't work in this area for some reason, which caught us out. So we had to walk quite a distance in the dark in Cape Town. Although we did get some great photos while we were doing this, I'll put them in for you. But we eventually then walked and found a taxi rank, didn't we?
And the thing with the taxi rank there, that also was good, because you can sort of presume that because a taxi is in a taxi rank, it's a proper taxi, but you never know, dear. But there was a man there with a high-vis jacket. So, what was he called? Something marshal.
Traffic marshal.
Traffic marshal or something. And he was making sure people got into taxis in order and etc.
And they were valid taxis.
Yeah. So that was good, wasn't it? Yeah.
So that's, again, the whole of the V&A Waterfront. There's lots of security around, and they're trying really hard to make sure that it's a real safe place for tourists.
Yeah.
Well, because they need
for anybody, particularly tourists, because
they need the income.
Yeah, they're wanting to encourage people to go.
So there's lots of security guards around. There's police around. They're actually called street sheriffs.
Yeah.
There's this street sheriffs, fantastic, isn't it? And they're always very helpful, and they keep the peace basically. And then you've got traffic marshals, and then you'll see police on top of that. So it's a well-ordered place.
It is well ordered. It's a good place to be.
And then a final place we'll talk about is Maker's Landing, is it?
Yeah.
Which is where the cruise port is. So that's sort of a mixture of street food and artisan craftspeople that you walk through to get to the cruise port. And if you go into when we departed, there was Cunard was at the cruise port itself, the cruise terminal, and NCL were using the bottom of a car park to take our luggage and then bussing us to where the ship was. We'll make another video about that because it was a bit of a shambles really, and we'll talk more about all that in a different video. But again, Maker's Landing is a nice little place that they've put together, all very well done. So yeah, all in all, V&A Waterfront, really great place to be.
Well, you could spend a day there easily.
We did.
We did, and an evening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Going around places. So that's it for now. So it's a goodbye from me.
And it's a goodbye from me.
So goodbye.
Bye.